The alien warship floated in the silence of deep space, its silver walls glowing with cold blue light. Inside a wide chamber, tall alien guards gathered in a circle. Their sharp armor gleamed as they laughed, pointing at the small figure standing. In the middle dot, it was a human girl. She looked fragile, her clothes torn, her wrists locked in iron cuffs. Compared to the towering aliens, she seemed weak and breakable, like a fragile bird caught in a storm. Yet she stood still, her head lowered. Saying nothing, one alien hissed, his voice sharp and cruel. "Is this what humanity sends against us? A child?" Another alien laughed so hard his armor rattled. "They are insects. We crush their cities, and this little thing is all that remains." The chamber filled with mocking voices. Some aliens imitated human cries. Others stomped their feet, pretending to fall like dying soldiers. The laughter grew louder, echoing against the walls like thunder, but the girl did not move. Her silence made the laughter sharper, as if they were trying harder to break her spirit. The commander of the aliens stepped forward. His body was taller than all others, his eyes glowing green with pride. He stared at the girl with disgust. "Fragile, weak, that is what you humans are. Why do you fight against empires that you cannot defeat? Your earth burns, your fleets are dust. And now your last hope stands before me, a little girl." The guards laughed again, louder, mocking, cruel. The girl finally raised her head. Her face was calm, almost too calm for someone standing in front of killers. Her eyes met the commander's, and her lips parted. "You laugh too much," she whispered. The laughter stopped for a second. Her voice was not loud, but it carried a strange weight in the air. Then the aliens laughed again, this time even harder. "She dares speak," one shouted. "Perhaps we should let her beg before we break her," another said. The commander narrowed his eyes. "Tell me, human, what makes you so calm in your final hour?" The girl looked around slowly at all the faces, her eyes steady. "You don't understand what you've done," she said. Her voice was quiet, but firm. The words lingered in the air like smoke. For a brief moment, silence touched the hall. Then a guard barked with laughter. "She speaks in riddles, pathetic." The commander grinned cruelly. "And what have we done, little insect? Tell us. Amuse us before you die." The girl lowered her head again, her voice soft. "You have mocked the wrong species." The words felt like a whisper, but something about them made several guards glance at each other nervously. Before the commander could respond, the ship's lights flickered. The glowing walls dimmed for a moment, then brightened. Alarms did not sound, but the silence in the control systems was strange. A guard tilted his head. "Commander, a power fluctuation." "Impossible," the commander snapped. "Check." Another guard looked at his wrist screen, frowning. "Signal interference. Strange readings in the chamber." "It is centered on her." All eyes turned toward the girl. She still stood still, head lowered, but her breathing was steady. "Too steady." The commander growled. "What are you doing, human?" The girl slowly raised her head again. This time, her eyes seemed to shimmer faintly, like faint light hidden beneath the surface. "I am doing nothing," she said. "It is you who began this." The guards stepped back slightly. Their laughter was gone now. One alien tried to cover his unease with anger. "She is only a child. Destroy her now." He rushed forward, lifting his weapon high. But as he came near, the chamber shook with a low hum. His weapon sparked, then melted in his hands like soft metal. The alien screamed. In pain, falling to the floor. The girl did not move. She only watched quietly. The commander shouted, "What trick is this?" Her lips curled into the faintest smile. "You call us fragile. You call us weak. But you never understood what hides inside humanity. You thought laughter would break me. Instead, it has awakened something you cannot control." The lights flickered. Again, Now the walls trembled. The aliens' armor sparked. One by one, their wrist screens went dark. Panic spread among them. "This cannot be," one shouted. "She carries a weapon." Another screamed. The commander stepped back, his pride now shaken by the fear he saw in his soldiers. He glared at the girl, but his voice carried doubt. "You, what are you?" The girl's eyes shone brighter now. She whispered softly, almost gently, "I am human. And that is enough." The silence in the chamber grew heavy, pressing against every alien like a weight. The once mocking voices were gone. Laughter had turned into fear. The commander raised his hand, as if to order an attack, but his voice broke. "Stay back. Do not touch her." The guards froze. For the first time, the proud warriors of an empire felt fear in the presence of a single fragile human girl. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, as if listening to something far away. Then she opened them again, calm and steady. "This ship," she whispered, "will remember me, and so will you." Her words echoed in the cold air, not loud, not violent, but unshakable. The chamber was silent now, except for the faint hum of failing machines. The laughter had ended, and in its place stood fear. The chamber was still, the silence heavy after the laughter had died. The girl stood at the center, her hands still bound by iron cuffs, though they now looked weaker than her calm presence. The aliens shifted nervously, their tall forms uneasy, their glowing eyes no longer mocking but uncertain. The commander's voice broke the silence. "She is playing tricks. Nothing more. End her now." But no one moved. The memory of the guard's weapon melting in his hands was still fresh. He lay groaning on the floor, his armor cracked, his screams echoing in the cold hall. Another soldier whispered, his voice trembling, "She is not normal. I feel something around her." The commander snapped, "Cowards, she is a child. Do you fear a fragile human child?" The girl tilted her head slowly, her eyes locking on his. "You fear me, Commander, even if you do not admit it." Her voice was soft, but it cut through the silence like a blade. One of the guards forced himself to step forward. He held a plasma rifle, its green core glowing bright. He aimed it at the girl's chest, his hands shaking. "See, she is nothing. Watch." He pulled the trigger. A blinding beam shot forward, but halfway through the air, the beam flickered, bent, and then dissolved into sparks. The weapon in his hand sputtered, whined, then exploded, throwing him backward. Smoke filled the air, and the guard lay still. Gasps spread across the chamber. The girl never moved. She only whispered, "You should not have done that." The commander clenched his fists, his arrogance fighting against the fear rising in his chest. "What are you, human?" She lifted her head proudly now, her eyes glowing faintly again. "You think of humans as weak, but weakness is only what you see. Inside us, there is something you cannot break, something you cannot understand." The commander growled, "Enough riddles. Guards, take her to the lower cells. I want her studied, dissected if needed." Several guards hesitated, then slowly approached. Their steps were unsure, their weapons heavy in their hands. The girl looked at them, her voice quiet but steady. "Touch me, and you will regret it." One guard reached out anyway, his hand gripping the iron cuffs. Suddenly, a pulse of energy shot through him, sending him flying across the chamber. His armor cracked, and sparks danced over his body as he twitched on the floor. The rest of the guards froze where they stood. The commander's face twisted with anger, but beneath it, fear was spreading. He took a step back without realizing it. His soldiers noticed, and the silence grew heavier. The girl turned her gaze on the commander. "You enjoy mocking us. You think laughter makes you strong, but it blinds you. You see only the surface, never the truth beneath." The commander roared, trying to regain control. "You think one girl can stop an empire? Your world burns. Your people are scattered. Humanity is finished. The girl raised her head higher, her eyes sharp. No, humanity has only begun. As she spoke, the walls of the ship trembled. The blue lights flickered again. Holographic. Screens across the hall began to glitch, showing broken images of Earth's cities, burning fleets, then suddenly shifting to images of human survivors fighting back. Hidden bases glowing, secret fleets gathering in the shadows of planets. Aliens gasped. Impossible, these are false images. But the commander knew better. His fists tightened. No, this is real. The girl stepped forward. Her iron cuffs cracked as if they were brittle clay. The pieces fell to the floor with a dull sound. She rubbed her wrists slowly, then looked back at the commander. You called me fragile. You called my people weak. But you never understood our greatest strength. We endure, we adapt, and when we rise together. The commander's pride faltered. For the first time in years, he felt his chest tighten, not with anger, but with fear. One of the younger guards whispered in panic, "Commander, I cannot breathe near her. The air feels heavy. She is changing the ship." Another shouted, "We must escape." The commander roared, "Silence!" But his voice shook. He turned back to the girl. "You are one human, alone. What can you possibly do?" The girl's lips curved into a faint smile. "You still don't see it, do you? I am not alone." At that moment, the ship shuddered violently. The chamber shook as alarms finally blared. The walls turned red with warning lights. From outside, the massive windows, streaks of light appeared in the distant ships. Human ships, emerging from the void. The aliens turned in shock. Impossible. Humanity has no fleet left. They were destroyed, but the evidence was clear. A hidden human fleet, sleek and burning with fire, moved toward the alien warship. The girl looked at the stunned commander, her voice calm. "You laughed at us, you mocked us. And because of that, you never saw us coming." The commander's throat went dry. For the first time, the chamber felt cold to him. His soldiers, once loud with cruel laughter, now stood in silence, their fear echoing louder than any mockery. The girl stepped forward again. Her fragile figure no longer looked weak. She seemed to carry the weight of something far larger. "This is humanity's answer," she said softly. "Remember it when you speak of us again." Outside, the human fleet charged, their weapons glowing. Inside, the alien warship trembled, its proud warriors frozen in fear. The laughter was gone. Only silence remained. The alien warship groaned as if it were alive. Red lights flashed across the chamber, and alarms screamed in panic. The human fleet outside moved closer, their weapons glowing like fireflies in the dark void of space. The aliens inside the hall stood frozen, their once mocking faces pale with fear. None of them laughed now. The commander's voice cracked as he barked an order. "Shields up! Fire the cannons!" But the consoles sparked, screens glitched and flickered with static. Systems refused to obey. The mighty warship, feared across galaxies, was crumbling from within. One guard shouted in panic, "The controls! They do not answer." Another screamed, "We are blind. The ship cannot see." The commander turned his furious eyes toward the human girl standing calmly in the center. Her fragile form looked unchanged, yet her presence filled the chamber with an invisible weight. "What have you done to my ship?" he roared. The girl looked at him, her voice calm and steady. "I have done nothing. You broke yourselves with your arrogance. You laughed at us, and in that laughter, you never saw the truth." Her words made the chamber colder. The commander clenched his fists. "You dare claim this is your doing? You are one girl, nothing more." The girl tilted her head slightly, her eyes glowing faintly once more. "One girl is enough to remind you what humans are." The guards whispered among themselves, their voices trembling. "She bends the ship. She brings their fleet here. She cannot be human." The commander raised his weapon, aiming it at her head. His hands shook, but his voice tried to stay firm. Then die proving your point. He pulled the trigger, but before the plasma bolt reached her, it dissolved into sparks, vanishing into the air. His weapon melted in his hands, burning his palms. He dropped it with a cry of pain, his pride slipping away as his fear grew deeper. The girl whispered softly, "You still don't understand. You thought strength was in weapons. You thought power was in numbers. But humanity's strength has never been in machines." Her words echoed through the chamber, sinking into the hearts of every alien who listened. One younger soldier stepped back, his eyes wide. "Commander, we cannot win. She is more than human." "She is." Before he could finish, the ship shook violently again. The floor rumbled beneath their feet. From the massive windows, they saw beams of light crash against the warship's hull. Human ships had opened fire. The guards panicked. "They are attacking us. We must retreat." The commander growled, refusing to surrender. "No, we are the Empire. We do not run from insects." But his words felt empty in the chaos. The girl took another step forward. Her iron cuffs lay broken on the ground, and with each step, the lights flickered harder. Her presence spread like a wave, pressing on every alien's chest, making them gasp for breath. "You called us fragile," she said softly. "But it is you who are fragile, because you never imagined a world where prey could fight back." The commander shouted desperately, "You cannot defeat us all." The girl's eyes glowed brighter now, like stars burning inside them. "I don't need to. Humanity will." Outside, the human fleet split into formation. Small ships swarmed like hunters, targeting the alien vessel's weak points. Explosions lit up the void. The once proud alien warship began to break apart. Inside the chamber, fear turned to chaos. Soldiers ran, shouting in terror. Some dropped their weapons, others tried to flee through the doors, but even the doors refused to open, sealed shut. By the strange force that had taken hold, the commander stumbled backward, his arrogance shattered. "No, no, this cannot be. We are the Empire." "We," the girl's calm voice silenced him. "You are the past, we are the future." The ship shook harder. Pieces of the ceiling fell. Smoke hissed from broken panels. The aliens coughed, their once proud voices now trembling cries. The commander stared at the girl, trembling. "What are you? No human carries such power." The girl looked at him, her face calm, her voice steady. "You are right. I am not only human. I am the voice of humanity. Every cry, every tear, every loss, they live in me. You mocked one human, but in me you face them all." The words crushed the air like a hammer. Even the strongest guards lowered their eyes, unable to meet her gaze. The commander fell to his knees, his pride gone, his body shaking. He whispered, almost begging, "Spare us." The girl looked down at him, her expression unreadable. Then she turned her gaze toward the window, watching the human fleet tearing through the stars. Her voice was soft, but it carried across the chamber with power. "Mercy is for those who learn. Did you learn, Commander?" The commander's mouth opened, but no words came. His silence was his answer. The girl's eyes dimmed slightly, her glow fading back to calm. She turned and walked toward the great window, the floor trembling beneath her light steps. Behind her, the commander and his soldiers stayed frozen, too afraid to move. Outside, the warship groaned, explosions ripping through its hull. Human ships swarmed like fire, unstoppable and relentless. The girl whispered one final time, her words echoing in the smoke-filled hall. "This is only the beginning. Humanity is not fragile. Humanity is unbreakable." And as the human fleet closed in, the alien laughter that once filled the chamber was gone forever. The alien warship was breaking apart piece by piece. Explosions lit the dark sky outside, and the once proud vessel shook like a dying beast. Smoke filled the chamber, and the aliens who had once mocked stood in silence, their pride crushed into dust. The human girl stood near the great window, watching the human fleet swarm like fire around the enemy ship. Her fragile frame still looked small, but there was something in her presence that felt larger than any empire. The commander struggled to rise. His body shook, his armor cracked, but his voice still tried to hold power. This is not possible. Humanity cannot build fleets. Humanity cannot rise from the ashes. We destroyed you. The girl turned slowly, her eyes calm, glowing faintly once again. You destroyed our cities. You killed our people. But you never destroyed what makes us human. The commander spat, his pride refusing to die. And what is that? What do you carry that lets you bend ships and silence weapons? The girl's voice grew quieter, yet sharper. Memory, hope, anger, all the pain of my people, all the strength they hid, it flows through me. I am not only myself, I am the proof of what you missed. The guards whispered nervously, their voices trembling. She cannot be human. She holds power like the ancients. The commander's eyes narrowed, searching her face. No. You are something else. You were made. You were built. The girl did not deny it. She looked at him, steady, unflinching. You are right. I was chosen. I was changed. Humanity poured their last hope into me. I am their answer to your laughter. I am their voice when they cannot speak. The hall grew colder. The aliens shifted. Uneasily, their fear turning into despair. The commander's voice cracked, a mix of rage and fear. Then you are a weapon. Nothing more than a weapon, and weapons break. The girl's lips curved into a faint smile. Then try to break me. As if answering her challenge, the ship groaned louder, tilting violently. Sparks flew from broken panels, and the chamber shook. From the window, alien reinforcements could be seen entering the battlefield. Dark ships, cutting through space like blades. The commander's eyes lit with sudden hope. Our fleet, you are finished now, human. But the girl did not flinch. She placed her palm against the cold glass window, her eyes glowing brighter. You still don't see. Humanity never fights alone. Her words hung in the air, and then, from the darkness, more human ships appeared. Sleek, hidden vessels uncloaked one after another, forming lines of fire. The stars lit up as the second wave of the human fleet revealed itself. The aliens gasped. Impossible. They had nothing left. This cannot be. The girl's voice cut through their fear. You thought you destroyed us. You never. Notice the ones who hid, who built in silence, who waited in the shadows. You never saw them because you never looked. You were too busy laughing. The human fleet opened fire. Beams of light struck the alien reinforcements, tearing through their armor. The dark ships shattered, one by one, falling into silence. The chamber shook again. Some aliens fell to their knees, covering their heads. The commander's pride cracked further as he realized the truth. Humanity had been preparing all along. He turned toward the girl, his voice broken now. What are you? How do you know these things? She looked at him with calm eyes. Because I am connected to them. Every human thought, every human heart. They flow through me. When you mocked me, when you mocked my people, you mocked the millions who live in me. That is why your laughter ends here. Her glow spread wider, the light from her eyes filling the chamber like fire. The alien guards stumbled back, unable to face it. One dropped his weapon. Another whispered, "We cannot fight this. We cannot." "Fight her." The commander shook his head violently. "No, I will not kneel to insects." He lunged forward, drawing a blade from his side, sharp and black with alien steel. He rushed at her, his roar filling the chamber. The girl did not move as the blade neared. It shattered into dust before touching her. The commander fell to the floor, his body trembling. The girl looked down at him, her voice soft but unshakable. You still don't understand. You thought you were stronger because of your weapons, your fleets, your numbers. But strength is not in what you hold. Strength is in what you endure. That is why humanity will rise while you fall. The commander's eyes filled with despair. He had no words left. The girl turned again toward the window. Outside, the alien ships were burning, their proud empire crumbling under the fire of a species they had mocked as weak. Her voice was calm as she whispered, "This is humanity's secret, not power, not weapons, but the will to keep standing." When all else falls, the chamber fell silent again. Smoke curled through the air. Aliens who had once laughed at her now bowed their heads, too afraid to even breathe loudly. The fragile girl, the one they had mocked, now stood as a symbol of something far greater. And with every explosion outside, the Empire learned the truth. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was unbreakable. The alien warship shook like a dying beast in the middle of the void. Explosions tore through its hull, while outside, the human fleet burned bright against the darkness, their weapons tearing through alien reinforcements. Inside the chamber, fear had replaced arrogance. The aliens no longer mocked. Their proud eyes were wide with panic, their voices trembling with confusion. The girl stood still at the center of the hall, her fragile body surrounded by smoke and sparks. She looked small compared to the towering aliens, yet every breath she took pressed against their chests like an invisible storm. The commander's face twisted with rage. His empire was falling apart before his eyes, and a single human girl was at the center of it. He shouted, his voice raw, "Do not fear her. Attack. Crush her now." The guards hesitated. Some looked at their broken weapons, remembering how blades had shattered, how rifles had melted. Still, fear of the commander pushed them forward. 5 soldiers rushed at once, their heavy steps shaking the ground. They roared as they charged, claws out, armor gleaming under the red lights. The girl lifted her head slowly. Her eyes glowed brighter, sharp as fire. She whispered only one word, "Stop." The soldiers froze mid-step, their bodies locked as if caught by invisible chains. They struggled, their voices desperate. "What is this? I cannot move. She binds us." With a soft motion of her hand, the girl swept the air. The armored warriors flew backward like leaves in a storm, crashing into the walls. Their armor cracked, their bodies limp. Others gasped. One whispered in terror, "She's a weapon beyond weapons." The commander roared again, though his voice carried more fear than fury now. "She is one human. She cannot face us all." But the girl's voice cut through him, calm and steady. "You never learn. You think strength is in numbers. But even if you bring 1,000, your fear will still break you." More guards surrounded her, circling carefully this time, their claws trembling. They moved as if she were fire, and they were afraid to be burned. One brave soldier leapt, striking from above. The girl did not move. A wave of unseen energy burst from her, and his armor shattered into pieces before he hit the ground. He collapsed, groaning in pain. The others stopped in horror. The girl stepped forward. Every step she took made the chamber shake. The ceiling cracked, dust falling from above. Lights flickered, shadows dancing wildly. "You laughed at us," she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "You mocked us as fragile. But fragile things endure. Fragile things survive. Storms, and now fragile humanity breaks your empire." The aliens stumbled back, their pride falling apart faster than their ship. The commander's eyes burned with desperation. He turned to the guards. "Seal the chamber. Do not let her leave." The great steel doors slammed shut, locking them. Inside, the commander drew another blade, glowing with alien energy. He pointed it at her, his voice breaking between rage and fear. "If you are their weapon, then I will destroy you myself." He charged, his speed frightening, the blade slicing the air. Sparks flew as the weapon cut down with deadly force. But Just before it struck her, the blade shattered again, turning into glowing dust that scattered like ash. The commander stumbled, falling to his knees. His hands bled from the broken weapon. The girl looked down at him, her calm expression unchanged. "You still do not understand. Weapons mean nothing. Fear means everything. And your fear has already destroyed you." The commander's breath grew heavy. Around him, his soldiers dropped their weapons, too afraid to fight. Some fell to their knees, others backed into corners like shadows trying to hide. The ship groaned again, louder this time. Outside the window, more explosions tore through the alien fleet. Human ships moved like hunters, cutting down their prey. With precision, the stars lit with fire. One guard cried out, "The fleet is lost. The Empire is burning." Another whispered, "She is not human. She is something greater." The girl turned to face them all, her glowing eyes burning through the smoke. "I am human, that is all. But humanity is more than you ever imagined. You will remember this." Suddenly, the chamber walls cracked. Alarms wailed louder. The ship's core trembled, its engines screaming in failure. The floor tilted as the warship began to collapse from within. The aliens panicked. Some rushed to the doors, pounding on them desperately. Others screamed in terror, clawing at their armor as if they could escape their fate. The commander looked up at the girl, sweat running down his face. His pride was gone, his empire gone, and his voice broke into a whisper. "Spare us, please." The girl stared at him, silent for a long moment. Her voice, when it came, was soft but sharp. "Spare you? Did you spare us when you burned our cities? Did you spare the children you mocked before they died? No, you laughed. And your laughter ends." Now, her words struck harder than any weapon. The commander lowered his head, defeated, broken. The girl closed her eyes. For a moment, the chamber grew silent despite the chaos outside. Then her voice came again, calm and final. "Your empire falls tonight, and humanity rises." The chamber shook violently, walls tearing apart. Smoke filled the air. Outside, the alien fleet burned brighter, ships exploding one after another under human fire. The fragile girl, once mocked as weak, now stood unshaken in the storm. The aliens who once laughed now trembled at her feet. And in the endless void of space, the truth became clear: humanity was not fragile. Humanity was wrath. Humanity was survival. Humanity was unbreakable. The alien warship was breaking apart, fire swallowing its hulls. Explosions thundered in the distance, shaking the floor. Sparks rained down from broken lights. Every alien inside the chamber felt the weight of doom pressing against their hearts. Girl stood at the center of the chaos, her small frame glowing faintly, her eyes burning like two stars. Around her, the commander and his soldiers knelt in silence. Their weapons lay shattered on the ground, their voices gone, their courage drowned by fear. The commander raised his head slowly, his voice weak, trembling. Why do you fight with such strength? You are only human. Your kind should have broken long ago." The girl's gaze cut through him like a blade. Her voice was calm, steady, almost quiet, but it carried more weight than thunder. "You thought humans were weak because we bleed, because we cry, because we break. But what you never understood is this: when we break, we rise again, stronger, harder, unyielding. That is what makes us human." The words struck the aliens harder than any weapon. Whispers spread through the chamber as the soldiers bowed their heads lower. Fear mixed with something else. Shame. Outside the cracked window, the battle raged. Human ships moved like wolves among prey, cutting down the alien fleet with fire and precision. Massive enemy vessels crumbled one after another, their proud symbols burning in silence. One soldier, his voice broken, whispered to another, "Their fleet, it will not stop. Humanity fights like the storm itself." The commander's claws scraped against the metal floor as he tried to rise. His pride burned even as his empire collapsed. You speak as though you are victory itself, but you are one girl, one human child. If I kill you, perhaps hope will die with you. He stumbled to his feet, pulling a hidden blade from his armor. His body trembled, but his eyes carried desperate rage. He charged at her with a final roar. The girl did not move. Her eyes glowed brighter, her hair rising slightly in the invisible energy that flowed around her. She whispered only one word: fall. The commander's blade shattered in midair. His body froze, lifted by unseen force, and then slammed against the wall. Armor cracked, and his voice broke into a cry of pain. He slid to the floor, coughing, defeated. The soldiers gasped in silence. None dared to move. None dared to look at her directly. The girl stepped closer to the commander, her voice like cold fire. You thought fear was your weapon. You spread it across stars. But tonight you taste it, and it consumes you. The commander's eyes widened with despair. His voice came out in a whisper. Will you destroy us all? The girl looked. Around the chamber, the walls trembled, smoke filling the air. She saw fear in their eyes, but also something more, a spark of regret, of shame. She lowered her gaze, then spoke softly. No, humanity does not destroy for pleasure. Humanity fights to survive. If you surrender, you will live. But your empire, your cruelty, it ends here. The soldiers exchanged glances. Slowly, one by one, they dropped to their knees fully, pressing their foreheads to the ground. Their voices trembled as they spoke together. We surrender to humanity. The commander groaned, clutching his chest. His pride, his empire, everything he had built all gone. He bowed his head at last, his voice broken. Then the empire is finished. At that moment, the chamber's doors burst open. Human soldiers stormed inside, armored and armed, weapons glowing in the smoky air. They froze when they saw the girl standing in the middle of defeated aliens. One soldier whispered, his voice filled with awe, "Is that her?" Another said, softly, "The girl who broke their fleet." The girl turned to them, her glowing eyes slowly dimming. She looked human again, fragile and small. But the soldiers now looked at her as if she were something greater, something legendary. The commander tried to rise again, but the human captain stepped forward, aiming his weapon at him. "It's over," the captain said firmly. The girl raised her hand gently. "No, he's already broken. His empire has already died. Let him carry the weight of it." The commander lowered his head, silent. The humans secured the chamber. Outside, the alien fleet burned in silence. Ships that once carried terror now drifted like broken bones in the void. The war that had begun with arrogance and cruelty was ending with fire and surrender. The captain looked at the girl, his voice soft with respect. "You've done more than any fleet, more than any weapon. You gave us victory." The girl shook her head slowly. "No, humanity gave itself victory. I am only a reminder. We may be fragile, but we rise. And no empire, no matter how great, can stop us when we rise together." Her words spread through the chamber, through the comms, through the fleet. Soldiers, both human and alien, heard them. And for the first time in history, the universe saw humanity not as weak, but as unbreakable. The ship groaned again, tearing apart from its wounds. The captain turned quickly. "We must leave, now." The soldiers escorted the girl out. The defeated aliens followed under guard, no longer enemies, only survivors of a fallen rule. As the humans boarded their ships, the alien flagship exploded behind them, breaking apart in a burst of fire that lit the stars. The Empire's proud banner burned with it, fading into dust. The girl stood at the viewport of the human vessel, watching the flames die in the black void. Her reflection looked back at her, fragile yet fierce. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "Now they will know. Humanity was never fragile. Humanity was always fire waiting to rise." The stars stretched before her, endless and vast. Behind her, the crew stood silent, filled with awe and respect. They knew they were witnessing the beginning of something greater than war. They were witnessing the rise of humanity, and in that silence, as the broken empire crumbled into history, one truth echoed through the stars. Humanity was unbreakable. Humanity was eternal. Humanity was here to stay.